We'll chase Tony up.
Thank you, Mayor Henderson. We're now live.
Thank you, Mr. White. The Hepburn Shire Council acknowledges the Dja Dja Wurrung as the traditional owners of the lands and waters on which we live and work. On these lands, Dja performed age-old ceremonies, celebration, initiation and renewal. We recognise their resilience through dispossession, and it's a testament to their continuing culture and tradition, strong and thriving. We also acknowledge the neighbouring traditional owners, the Wurundjeri to our southeast, the Wadawurrung to our southwest, and pay our respects to all Aboriginal peoples, their culture and law. We acknowledge their living culture and the unique role they play in the life of this region. I now declare the meeting open. Our councillors present. We have Councillor Brian Hood, Councillor Leslie Hewitt, Councillor Shirley Cornish, Councillor Hockey, Councillor Tim Driley, and myself, Councillor Don Henderson. I'm the Mayor. The officers present, we've got Mr. Bruce Lucas, Mr. Ron Torres, and we have Ms. Brooke Holmes present as well. Do we have? No, we don't have anyone. And of course our Chief Executive Officer.
And Beck Smith Governance is just chasing up Councillor Tony. So
Okay, so
he'll be here any second, but
so
we'll make that work.
we're having some trouble with getting Councillor Clark online, and we now have Ms. Rebecca Smith joined us. So I'll ask Councillor Hockey if he would to read the statement of commitment.
We, the councillors of Hepburn Shire, declare that we will undertake on every occasion to carry out our duties in the best interests of the community, and that our conduct shall maintain the standards of the Code of Good Governance, so that we may faithfully represent and uphold the trust placed in this council by the people of the Hepburn Shire.
Thank you. Do we have any apologies? Any apologies? No apologies? No officers? No. Any declarations of conflicts of interest? Councillors? Officers?
Through you, Mayor, item 10 relates to my contract, so I'll obviously have a conflict in that.
And then that's in the confidential section, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah.
I now move to item 5, which is the confirmation of minutes, and I'm looking for a resolution, councillors, that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held on the 23rd of September 2005, previously circulated, be confirmed. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor Hockey, seconded Councillor Driley. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Welcome, Councillor Clark. If there's no discussion, I'll put it. Those in favour? Those against, I'll declare that carried unanimously. We now come to public participation time. This part of the ordinary meeting of council allows for the tabling of petitions by councillors and officers in 30 minutes for the purpose of tabling petitions, responding to questions from members of our community, and give us an opportunity for the members of the community to address council. Community members are invited to be involved in public participation time in accordance with councillors' governance rules. The individuals may submit, we know that, we've been through that. The behaviour at council meetings, well, we'll take that as the normal behaviours that carry on in our everyday lives. There's no need for me to mention that, but some of the things are interjecting or taking part in a debate, just being courteous to everybody and not speaking over anyone, any threats of violence, but basically the things that we would expect in our normal community. So 6.1, do we have any petitions, Mr. Thomas?
No petitions,
No
Mayor.
petitions. Request to address council. We have two of those, and we have a request to address council from a Mr. Brendan Murphy to speak in relation to weed spraying on Old Ballarat Road, Dales, but Mr. Murphy, would you like to? Sorry, Mr. Murray.
Murray. Right, I've never done this before. I thank the Shire for giving me this time. Just a map, either in Bridge Road and Old Ballarat Road has been sprayed from one end to the other with herbicide to try and deal with gorse problem, but it's created lots of other problems. It's now just an avenue of dead gorse. So there's a whole lot of concerns, like in the case of fire, which has never looked more imminent, that'll just become an avenue on a wick into the town. It'll be a danger for people trying to flee. It's ineffective because it doesn't, it only deals with part of the problem. The front half of the gorse will die, but the back half is just going to eventually thrive again. So it doesn't deal with that problem. The visibility, that what I should say too, I had a reply from Matthew Allen, Grant Allen, to give the Shire's views on the work that was done, but I wasn't fully satisfied with the reasons that he'd given. The gorse did need attention, but I think just spraying it in that way, perhaps a drive-by spray is what it looks like to me. I could be wrong. It was not the right approach, and it's also knocked out a whole lot of other emerging native species, which could have been useful. And so I would like the council to, first of all, I believe that there was a mistake, and that I think the council needs to think much more carefully about treating roadsides in this way. This one, and if you just go for a drive along it, you'll see what it is. And it's also, on top of everything else, it's damned ugly. So that is the issue I wish to raise, and I'd like council to, second, to follow up and deal with it. Like that, what they probably should have done in the first place was just get the grooming machine, the flogging thing, bash it down, and when it starts to emerge, spray it then. That would have been a lot more effective, more costly, I know, but that would have solved a lot of the eyesore problem and probably the fire problem, which I believe it will represent. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murray. We now ask Mr. Shane Bright. Mr. Bright, are you there? Address the council, please. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are we?
Thank you.
My question is pretty blunt. Where's all the money is lost on the wrecks? And I'm sorry, these people need to be held responsible. 5 point how much? $1 million went missing, and you have taken no responsibility at all. You sacked a bloke that went to another place and done something wrong, and he got sacked from there. Where's our money? I know also, and a lot of people have heard this, that you're going to put that into our rates to get that money back. That's not our responsibility. That is the responsibility of the 4 idiots that made the decision to sell the wrecks at a phenomenal loss. Phenomenal. I've been down there today to see the wrecks. I can see about, if I'm really honest, maybe $2 million worth of work that might have been done there. Not 5.5. And I've also heard you're going to try and put this into our rates to get the money back. That's not our responsibility as councillors. And I won't name anyone, but the 4 idiots that made the decision to sell the wrecks at the price they sold it at, they're the only 4 people responsible for the money, not ratepayers, no one else. Also, on Mount Cameron Road in Clunes, you've got a farmer putting rocks on the side of a blind bend, which I've reported, and I've actually moved once myself. that make it a very dangerous end. It's a blind corner. If someone's coming over the Mad Max Bridge, I don't know the name of the bridge, I just call it the Mad Max Bridge because it had something to do with the film. If someone comes down Mount Cameron Road over the bridge, the road bends around to the left. Now, if that person, which happens quite often, takes that bend a little bit wide, the person coming from the other direction is coming down from a blind corner. You cannot see what's down on the bridge at all. And you've got a farmer stacking rocks where the drain finishes. And I'm saying rocks this high. Now, do you know how much damage or how much someone could get hurt if they hit a rock that high unexpectedly that shouldn't be there? Now, I've moved them all once physically by hand myself and seen a council worker, and he told me they'd be down the next day to fix it. And the only thing that's happened is the person that done it in the first place has gone back and put it back how it was before I pulled it all down. So the only thing I can suggest at the moment is I go down there with my little tractor and my grader blade. I grade all that away because that is just dangerous. And I suggest, I'm not telling you people what to do, please. I suggest that you had a council vehicle there with the proper material to fix the side of the road, not rocks sitting up this high that you can't see until you get around the bend and you're on top of them.
Mr. Bright, you've gone over.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you. What's the one here?
That's the first question.
We now move to questions. Now, what will happen is the question will be read out by the Chief Executive Officer, and I will read out the provided answers. And the question one is from Mr. Benny Pedersen in person. So, Mr. Pedersen, please.
Sure. Do that. Thank you, Shai, for taking my question, and also thank you to 4 of the councillors out of the 7 that replied to my email correspondence. At this point in the 3 that haven't even acknowledged that email. Anyway, I understand the CEO contract is up for renewal in April 2026. I also note the confidential item on this meeting's agenda headed CEO Employment and Remuneration Committee. Council CEO Employment and Remuneration Policy states that within 6 months prior to the expiry of the current CEO's contract of employment, the committee will provide a recommendation to Council on whether the CEO should be reappointed under a new contract of employment, and if the recommendation is to reappoint the CEO, the proposed provision of the future contract of employment. And the reappointment of the current CEO must be made by resolution of Council. So my question is, when will the community be advised of any decision of Council to reappoint or not to reappoint the current CEO?
Thank you, Mr. Pedersen. The response is, since this is a personal employment issue, it would not be appropriate for the Council to comment further, except to confirm that the community will be properly informed about any decision regarding the CEO's contract at the earliest possible time. And that item is on the confidential agenda to be dealt with tonight.
It was on the last agenda as well, a month ago, I believe.
Pardon?
It was on the last meeting's agenda as well, as a confidential item, if I recall.
No.
It was.
Yeah, it was. So.
Yeah, yes, Mayor, it was. So, a couple part process. So, obviously,
Okay.
the answer still stands. Read out.
Okay.
So we get to know soon.
So possibly tomorrow, Mr. Pedersen. Question 2 is from Ms. Heather Mutimer. In person, I can see you. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Mayor and councillors. My question tonight relates to the accessibility and the backup of the live stream recordings of council's meetings. In February of this year, Facebook advised it was changing its policy re live streaming recordings, and I quote, beginning on February the 19th, new live broadcasts can be replayed, downloaded or shared from Facebook pages or profiles for 30 days, after which they will be automatically removed from Facebook. Live videos currently older than 30 days will be removed from Facebook. Before your archival live videos are deleted, you will be notified by email and in the app, and from then you will have 90 days to download or transfer your content. We are launching new tools to make downloading your previous live videos easier. End of quote. In addition, I also understand that there was something also placed by Facebook to say that they would provide, in addition to the 90 days notice, that they would provide a further 6 months if it was deemed necessary by those affected. So I have two questions tonight. My first one is, did Council take the necessary steps to download from Facebook Council's archival live meeting recordings, which were at threat of being deleted? And if not, why not? And two, what steps have been taken to ensure that meetings now recorded via YouTube are protected from a similar fate?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Muir. While notifications were sent by Facebook, they were not received by officers, as we believe the notifications were caught in the spam filter. As a result, we're not able to download the recordings before the deadline. Council contacted Facebook, but were advised that the recordings could not be recovered. Where a recording has been downloaded, those recordings have been uploaded to YouTube to make them available again and saved to the Council's document management system. And we still have the hard copy minutes of those meetings as well. But you're right, not all of the live ones.
Can you tell us how many of the live ones have been deleted from what?
No idea. I don't have that at hand, but we can get that to you.
So I guess I'm asking, so pre-YouTube, there's a possibility that all the live recordings, or most of them, have been deleted? They haven't been downloaded, they haven't been saved? Is that, I'm trying to understand.
Happy to answer.
Yeah.
You can answer that.
There's a mixture. So ultimately some have been on our website where the minutes are. We've uploaded the ones we can. So if they're not there now, we don't have them. And so there has been a real mix. And obviously that's a fault. Unfortunately, dealing with the likes of Facebook in terms of a multinational company have been difficult to do with, and in terms of their spam and items that have come in. So moving to YouTube and the steps that we now have in place means we've got greater control, which is a good outcome. But absolutely there's some that have been lost in terms of the recordings, remembering that it's only in recent times since COVID that there has been recordings at all. So pre that, council meetings weren't recorded at all. So
4 years.
So there's a mixture of meetings, but not all.
They are really important for transparency, going back, looking at the recording. So it's a real loss. But
All right. Question 4 is from Ms. Deborah Semple. Deborah here? No. Well, I can read that.
Yep. So question 4 is the recent confidential appointment of Hepburn Shire Council CEO as an interim board member of the newly established Destination Central Victoria does not seem to have been publicly announced. Given the significant implications of this governance role within an organisation promoting its own business interests and agenda for the Shire, regardless of whether the broader community of 17,000 people agree, it would seem that this decision warranted public scrutiny or at least a public announcement. Why has there been no public announcement by Hepburn Shire Council regarding the CEO's appointment to the board of Destination Central Victoria, given the relevance and potential implications of this role for the community?
Right. The answer is there are no potential negative aspects arising from the Chief Executive Officer's appointment to the board. Each participating local government area, local government authority, Hepburn, Macedon Ranges, Central Goldfields and Mount Alexander, participates in the interim board member of Destination Central Victoria and is represented I hate those, Destination Central Victoria board by its representative CEO. That's a Destination Central Victoria has not yet been launched. For this reason, Council has not issued any official communication regarding Destination Central Victoria at this time. However, formal announcements and communications from Council will be made as part of the organisation's official launch.
And question 5, also from Deborah, is related to strategic planning. Council has described the adopted structure plans as being the result of meticulous community consultation. This characterisation is misleading and undermines council credibility. A number of significant changes were adopted into the Daylesford structure plan with no consultation at all, and were first made available to the public in the agenda item but a few days before the deciding meeting. The proposal to include over 20 hectares of farmland at the eastern entrance into the town boundary for development was not a result of meticulous consultation. On what basis does Council describe its current strategic planning work on Daylesford structure plan as the result of meticulous community consultation when substantial late proposals were made without meaningful opportunity for community engagement?
Well, the answer to that is prior to the Council's adoption of structure plans and rural strategy in 2024, Council conducted extensive community and stakeholder engagement, consulted over close to 2 years, including community-led co-design sessions in each township. In response to the meticulous community consultation process, Council changed structure plans in response to community feedback received during May and June 2024. Proposed changes were made available in the Council agenda for the September 2024 meeting. While Council adopted changes, Council recognised that not everyone may have known about the changes or had a chance to comment. So Council requested staff to carry out additional community consultation. Only Clunes, Trentham and Daylesford Hepburn Strings draft structure plans were changed in any substantial way that needed further consultation. First phase of additional consultation has recently been undertaken to obtain a better understanding of the key issues. It was not the last opportunity for the community to have their say on the changes. Furthermore, detailed and formal consultation is planned through a future planning scheme amendment process. Council continues to receive important views and valuable information from the community. This consultation work and people's contribution informing how Council chooses to implement its obligations to plan the future in a way that responsibly manages the inevitable conflicts in making choices about land use and development. So that ends our questions. We now move to item 7, which is a draft management plan, road management plan, and that's report's been prepared by the Director of Infrastructure and Delivery. And to introduce it, Councillor Pattock.
The Road Management Plan is a statutory document made under the Road Management Act of 2004. Provides an overview of Council's road management. Under the Road Management General Regulations 2005, Council is required to undertake a review of its RMP every 4 years in line with council elections. A review of the existing plan was undertaken and an updated document subsequently placed on public exhibition with a total of 13 submissions received. This report tonight provides an overview of the submissions, officers' response and any changes proposed to the plan and attached for formal adoption.
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Hockey. All right, councillors, I'm looking for a motion. Got a mover? Don't have a mover. Move, Councillor Hewitt. You have a seconder? Councillor Dryly. Thank you. Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions now that's been moved and seconded, Councillor?
Councillor Hood.
Councillor Hood.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for officers. The plan goes into quite some detail outlining how and when council will intervene whenever there are problems on roads. My question is, how would officers characterise the approach that council is taking? Is it best practice? Is it in line with industry, local government sector average approach? Is it above or below that? How would we characterise the approach that council is taking to our roads?
Lucas?
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor Hood, for the question, and through you, Mayor. I would characterise it, Councillor Hood, as in line with industry practices or industry standards. We have prepared the service intervention levels in accordance with community expectation benchmarking of neighbouring and similar councils, and feedback from our insurers and the like to ensure that we are benchmarked and sit in terms of industry standard alignment. Also note, in the context of the road management plan document, it talks about the road management plan being supported by council's annual budget and budget allocations being provided to support the delivery and meeting the standards within the road management plan as specified. It should also, if I can, Polly, mention that we're always looking for opportunities to be more efficient and to do things better. So wherever those opportunities are identified, we try to take advantage of them. And in that context, council have committed to doing a service review for our parks and open spaces service area this year, and that project has commenced, and also committed to doing a detailed service review of our operations area, which will commence at the completion of the parks open spaces. So probably through 2026, that work will take place, and that will likely identify further efficiency opportunities that can be taken advantage of.
Any further questions, councillors? Councillor Clark had his hand up.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Lucas, it's interesting reading through the report. Obviously, we had a lot of submissions and there's some great detailed information in there. Just confirming that we have gone back to the people who made the submissions and provided them the feedback as per you've listed in the report.
Thank you, Councillor Clark, and again through the chair, we haven't done that as yet, is my understanding. After council has deliberated on the item, we fully intend to go back to each of the submitters and provide an update on where or responding to their submission and what the outcome of council's deliberations have been.
Right. Thank you for the clarification.
Any further questions, councillors? No further questions. Councillor Hewitt, then I'll ask you to address the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, I'm happy to support the officer's recommendation. I think it's a very valuable document that sets out clearly what our criteria are for road management. It also details council's responsibility for all the roads in the Shire that we have responsibility for. I'm heartened by Mr. Lucas's comments that our road repairs, our road maintenance are benchmarked to an accepted industry standard. And I do know that roads are often an issue for members of the community. And as a councillor, I take heart in and confidence in the fact that when we do evaluate these, our roads in Hepburn Shire are managed to a high degree of a high standard, a high practice standard. And I think it's useful for the community, even though they're concerned often about individual things, to be aware that in fact council take much care in ensuring that our roads are as safe as they can be. So I'd urge you to support this motion.
Councillor Dryling.
Yes, we have to acknowledge that roads are definitely part of our remit, and it's I'm not usually a proponent for excelling the benefits of our roads, but above other things. But in this case, we need to acknowledge that we are doing quite well in this space, above 5% of the national average, I believe, which is this is a somewhat administrative document, so I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Any other councillor? Any other councillor wish to speak? No, if not, I'm going to put the officer's recommendation as written. Those in favour? Those in favour? Those against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. We now move to item 7.2. This is recommendations from the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 2nd of September 2025. And this is prepared by the Manager of Risk, Ms. Rebecca Smith, who has no interest to declare. Now, just on this one, the purpose of the Audit and Risk Committee is to oversee and monitor the effectiveness of council in carrying out its responsibilities for accountable financial management and risk, good corporate governance, provide experience in public sector management and the maintenance of systems of internal control and the fostering of an ethical environment. The Audit and Risk Committee is not a delegated committee and cannot exercise statutory functions and powers of council under delegation. It essentially acts as an advisory board, acts as an advisory body to council's behalf. The Audit and Risk Committee meetings are closed to the public but open to all councillors. So before you, we have a motion. I think that we note, yes, we have an officer's recommendation that we receive the draft minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting that was held on the 2nd of September 2025, and 2, notes the recommendation of the Audit and Risk Committee were moved at the meeting on the 2nd of September 2025. You'll find that as an attachment to councillors. So, councillors, do we have a motion? Anybody? Councillor Clark? Got a seconder? Did I see your hand up there, Councillor? Oh, Councillor Ewart? Yeah, Councillor Ewart. Very difficult to see the whole three at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Mayor, I'm happy to second the motion.
Any questions, councillors, before we put the motion or debate it? No questions?
Confirming we're supporting the recommended motion.
Yes. So that's yep, that's right. That's what the motion is, that we adopt the councillor's recommendation, the officer's recommendation. All right. So if there's no questions, I'll ask the mover to say anything in support of the motion.
Look, just very quickly, I would like to thank the outgoing members of the committee, Cal, and also welcome a number of two new independent members coming onto the committee. I'm confident and believe the committee is refreshing and looking forward to some good work moving forward.
Councillor Ewart.
Nothing to add, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions? No other councillors? Well, I'm going to put it. Those in favour? Those against? I'll declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Now move. Okay. Council meeting schedule for 2026. This is put together by the Director of Performance and Transformation and the Manager of Governance Risk, Rebecca Smith, has no interest to disclose and report. So, used by Councillor Hockey.
It's almost self-explanatory, Mr. Mayor, but each year officers propose the council meeting schedule for the following year, taking into account public holidays and councillor availabilities. Dates will be published on council's website once confirmed.
Thank you, Councillor Hockey. I'm looking for a motion to accept the officer's recommendation, or alternatively another motion?
Happy to move that.
So moved councillor Hockey, seconded councillor Cornish. Any questions, councillors, about these dates? Well, if there's no questions. Councillor Hockey.
No comments either from me.
Councillor, any other councillor? No, I'm going to put it. Those in favour? Those against? Yeah, that carried unanimously. Thank you. We now move to item 8, which is councillor and CEO reports. And the Mayor's report is here. So since the last council meeting, a number of government members have met with council in order to advocate for community and to inform government of the needs and aspirations of our community. Martha Haylett, member for Ripon, met with the CEO Thomas and myself to discuss issues relating to Clunes and Creswick districts being in the Ripon area. There were also wider issues discussed about government policy and a number of things, including power lines and other issues as well. Director Ron Torres and myself met with Planning Minister Kilkenny, along with Martha Haylett, member for Wendouree, Juliana Addison. And the items discussed were shortages of planners and the need to train more planning and building surveyors to enable the speedier planning outcomes into the delivery of government housing projects. We'll be meeting with Minister Hutchins, who is Minister for Government Services, Treaty and First Peoples, and Minister for Family Services, Family Violence and Women. Many events attended and diversity was the key. A visit to the Buddhist retreat at Newbury, and today a positive ageing expo at Trentham, and this week an emergency services expo. The emergency services expo was a huge success thanks to the 9 or 10 volunteer services and the hard work of our preparation of our staff across a number of areas of council. So many young children seeing firsthand what the various and enjoying the various services and seeing firsthand what our emergency services people do. Thank you. I now call upon Councillor Leslie Hewitt.
Thank you, Mayor. Brief report today. Just wanted to say I've been involved in councillor briefings along with the rest of my colleagues, but 3 other events that highlight the effective way council can work with members of the community to achieve good outcomes. And the first was the announcement on the 29th of September, which showed that where VCAT upheld the Victorian Liquor Commission's decision not to provide a permit for a large package boxed alcohol outlet in Daylesford. They supported the Victorian Liquor Commission's decision, and I call out the members of the community. In fact, there are over 200 people in the Daylesford community who were involved in standing up for the community in that decision. The second thing I'd like to mention is, again, how the community works together was my attendance at the Dean sheepdog trial, which I know other councillors went to as well, and call out again the members of that community for putting on a great event that's attended by people from all around Victoria. And they're very welcoming of me and the explanations for how sheepdog trials are run. And finally, the Western Renewable Link, the hearings for the EES started yesterday, and council have been working with a community working group for many months now, going into years. And again, credit to the members of that working group for the information that they've provided and the guidance for council with our submission there. And finally, if I've still got time, I wasn't able to attend the opening of the Central Springs Reserve, Mineral Springs Reserve, with the work done by the JARA, but went down and had a walk around it, and would encourage everyone to go and have a look at how that Central Springs Reserve has been beautified and pays homage really to our traditional owners, the Dja Dja Wurrung. So it's certainly worth a look. Thank you, Mayor.
Well done, Councillor. Councillor, you're worried about time, but you're well under. Thank you. And now Councillor Pat Hockey, organised as ever, and with his has given us submitted a written report with the they're in the minutes. Councillor Hockey, did you wish to?
Certainly, Mayor. I'm just going to table my report, but the full text appears in the agenda if anyone wants to read. One of the consequences of meeting the deadline for the agenda is sometimes I miss some of the recent things in my speed. I'm happy to table it as read. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hockey. Councillor Brian Hood.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just mention two things briefly. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to the hard-working committee that look after the Lionville Community Hall on Council's behalf. It is a council asset, but importantly, it's a very much loved and much used community asset. And last weekend, once again, they held the Great Lionville Bake Off, a very successful event, catering for many groups and people within the community. Great event. Secondly, I'd like to just touch on planning. I'm mindful that an announcement has come out today from the state government very late this afternoon, so haven't had time to read that carefully, and the devil, as always, will be in the detail, and that will be of a high interest to the community, no doubt. I am mindful that Council has undertaken some further consultation on the town structure plans in recent weeks. I'm also very acutely aware that the topic is front and centre of mind of many in the community. And in recent weeks, I've had the benefit of travelling overseas, and not that I need a reminder, but I did notice through councillor eyes how others in other places have managed to maintain the character and amenity of their towns, while at the same time catering for tourism and protecting the environment. And I would hope that those factors continue to drive council's work as we further advance the town structure plans, albeit with some greater emphasis on consultation with the community to make sure that we do protect the character and amenity of the towns that we enjoy across the Shire. That's all from me.
Thank you, Councillor Hood. Councillor Tony Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things I'd like to echo Councillor Hewitt's congratulations to the very diligent and time-consuming work of the community in relation to the VCAT decision against Dan Murphy. I think it was a good outcome, and certainly their work is to be commended. I'd also like to recognise the great work of the Kingston community group that look after the Avenue of Honour, not only in terms of the work that they're doing to retain the historic trees that are there, and it was fascinating to find out the science that sits behind it. It's just not a matter of watering a tree, but also the amazing contribution they have and are continuing to make in relation to the Westlands Renewable Link and the submission process that is going on at the moment. And finally, I would just like to perhaps draw everyone's attention that on the 8th of November, the First Creswick Scout Group will be having their 60th anniversary, which I think is a momentous occasion. It's the only Scout group in Hepburn Shire. So I would encourage you to go and have a look and get involved and support the kids. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Cornish.
Thank you, Mayor. A few highlights, and one really important one was a presentation by the Victorian Grants Commission and a few of us did attend that. It was really interesting. Went for about 2.5 hours, and there was a lot of information, but it wasn't information that was not interesting. It was very interesting. Gave the demographics of our shire, why we were allocated a certain amount, and also the criteria used. There was a bit of detail that went in it, very enjoyable viewing. I enjoyed that. And very grateful, of course, we all are for the financial contribution. Attended the Glen Lyon Progress Association meeting again. And funny about that, because as I was driving there, a kangaroo decides to hop along next to my car, travelling at about 60k, and it kept up with me. And I thought to myself, oh my God, that is really scary. But anyway, I hope I never hit one of those. Seem to be having a good time. You know, the Progress Association, they now, thanks to council's grant of $5,000, have a website so people can access the latest news. Also, with other councillors, attended the Trentham Planning Conference to do with the subdivision. Substantial subdivision for Trentham. Well, many residents who attended, they were all heard their concerns. Councillors asked questions, and thank you to our planners that were present as well. These conferences have a very great benefit for our community, and the people that attended, the community members, were obviously very pleased to see their councillors there. So I think more of that would be great. Also, very quickly, the Community Bank Creswick and District Art Show, quite a few of us there as well. The 4 of us here sitting here were there, and that was successful, really enjoyable night and a great community event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Riley.
Thank you, Mayor.
First of all, Councillor Riley, give your report, and following that, an opportunity, an additional 4 minutes to talk about the MAV conference, but you actually represented council at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, so over 2 days I did attend the MAV annual conference and State Council. The conference theme was "The Future is Local," and it underscored what we feel here every day: cost of living pressure, climate risk, housing stress, and the need to rebuild trust. I will table a detailed outcomes report separately after this. Close to home, we've seen that Daylesford season of the block finished somewhat unfortunately, with disgruntled participants and viewers as 2 homes passed in and others only just clearing eye-watering reserves nearly $3 million. That's about 4 times the local median house price in Daylesford. The show did bring a profile and local sponsorships, but it also highlighted a deeper truth. The spectacle of luxury builds will not fix a housing system that is locking out essential workers, families, renters and older residents. We do need more affordable housing options, and new homes need to be built well and up to a standard. That means stronger environmental sustainable design measures, fairer processes that include local inputs. And this seems somewhat at odds for what is before the Victorian Parliament today on planning reforms, all of which has happened without local government consultation. On the Western Renewables link, I note today's great news that the Kingston's Algerian oak has been named the 2025 Victorian Tree of the Year. However, this 130-plus-year-old tree stands in the current transmission line path by Birches Creek and is habitat for platypus and other wildlife in a broader landscape where endangered brolgas are also observed to nest. Decarbonising the grids is essential, and so is protecting significant trees, waterways and biodiversity. We should expect solutions that do both. And thank you to many community members, community working group members and council staff who put very many hours into submissions for the EES hearing process as we seek better, more aligned community and environmental outcomes. I'm also hearing a growing frustration about council's perceived unresponsiveness at different levels and closed social media comment threads. I welcome the proposed formation of a new residents association and continue to support respectful and robust democratic participation at a local level. At State Council, there was a momentum for better structures for citizen assemblies, which support as a way to bring diverse voices into complex decisions. In the last month, I also attended the Electrify Your Future event with Dr. Saul Griffith, a briefing on the future of our ageing pool infrastructure, a special planning session on the proposed subdivision in Trentham, the Community Bank Creswick and District Spring Art Show, and the Creswick Brass Band AGM and dinner. I too want to congratulate everyone involved in the successful Dan Murphy VCAT decision. These conversations events show both our ongoing challenges and our incredible community strengths.
Did you want to give that report?
Yeah,
Councillor
sure.
Jolly, please.
Mayors and councillors, as a nominated council delegate, I attended the annual conference and MAV State Council this month. First, the conference, the theme was "The Future is Local." As I mentioned, the message was clear. Councils are at the front line for cost of living, climate risk, housing and community wellbeing. Minister for Local Government Nick Stakos acknowledged cost shifting to councils, backed practical fixes like allowing waste charges to cover dumped rubbish, and spoke to integrity reforms, online abuse and lifting women's representation. Andrew Colvin from Australian Red Cross set the tone on leadership in uncertainty. Centre people, support volunteers and build community cohesion. So helps work with, not over, local capacity. A treaty session led by Uncle Charles Pekana, Auntie Tracy Evans and Jita Clark outlined statewide and traditional owner treaties now progressing. While councils are not formal parties, we can strengthen relationships with traditional owners and support truth-telling, place naming and cultural learning. An innovation session busted the myth that innovation is a one-off or a gamble. Is a repeatable process that de-risks ideas by testing desirability, feasibility and viability. The closing panels urged clarity on who does what, fairer funding, capability uplift and leadership that leaves an enduring legacy, not just short-term fixes. State Council the following day turned those themes into decisions. On active local democracy, councils called for a definition of lobbyist that applies across the sector and for transparent registers of councillor interactions. On housing and planning, councils back reforms that keep local decision-making visible and accountable, protect third-party rights, speed up transparent processes and expand affordable and social housing through incentives and fair funding of community infrastructure. On financial sustainability, the platform was to reduce cost shifting and increase predictable, untied funding aligned to need, with better indexing of emergency management and support for volunteers and SES capability. On climate and resilience, council supported dedicated funding for flood mitigation and coastal adaptation, statewide hazard mapping and simpler pathways to act on risk, and continued advocacy to lift ESD requirements in new development. On community services, council sought to stabilise maternal and child health, including sleep and settling, and to strengthen responses to homelessness and youth mental health. On infrastructure, there was support for roads and bridges renewal, rural network pressures, accessibility upgrades to community facilities and open space, and clearer waste settings for litter, illegal dumping, education and transfer stations, backed by stronger enforcement. Hepburn Shire contributed to the consolidated motion on occupational violence against councillors and staff. There was considerable debate which focused largely on capacity of the MAV to launch a statewide campaign, but the motion was carried. This gives the sector a mandate to work with the state on consistent incident reporting, stronger protections, practical supports, training and clearer agency responses. Hepburn Shire supported the consolidated motion and on occupational violence affecting councillors and staff. We'll stay connected with MAV as sector-wide guidance develops. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dryley. Thank you for that comprehensive report. I'm sure the community will greatly appreciate the advocacy that we undertake. So I'm looking for, I reckon I've got a motion that council receive and notes the mayors and council report. So I have a move of that. Move Councillor Hockey, second Councillor Cornish. All in favour? Against? I'll declare that carried unanimously. We now move to the Chief Executive Officer's report. So, Mr.
Thank you, Mayor. Report is included in the agenda, but just a couple of highlights that I'd like to make a mention of. One has been, we've included now for the last couple of weeks, just drawing attention to an introduction of a weekly councillor column, rotating through each of the councillors, providing another snapshot of what they've been up to, and you hear through the reports that are presented by councillors. They are very busy outside of just council meeting, and so that'll be shared on our socials and website and being available. Councillor Hood touched on it earlier around new announcements regarding planning from the state government today. The MAB has issued also a media release noting their disappointment at the lack of consultation with local government, but we'll work through what that means and any changes that we need to update councillors on. A call out as we come into the warmer months, we will operate our swimming pool season coming up. To operate our swimming pool seasons, we need lifeguards, and we've had a good interest so far, but it would be fantastic if we can have a number of other applicants for lifeguards. We're happy to work with people around shifts and training as such, but details are on our website. But to operate a full pool season, we need lifeguards. So I would encourage any of those people watching at home or family or friends to reach out as well. And two other items I just want to touch on. One is in the report and also as part of the resolution. Officers are putting together a report from a council resolution in regards to looking at how we could utilise council-owned facilities or other community venues and make them more accessible to community members, particularly on extreme weather days. That report was to come to the October meeting. We're just working through a few bits and pieces with that. So part of the resolution is effectively to move that to the November meeting. And just I do want to make a shout out. I know it was not everyone's cup of tea, but obviously with the block finishing filming on the weekend, the amount of coverage that was provided to Daylesford and the Hepburn Shire and in totality is something that would be unaffordable for Hepburn Shire as a council and our tourist entities, the likes of DCV, to be able to undertake. So lots of work have gone into that, but great to see all of the tourism on showcase. So the recommendation for you tonight, councillors, is that council receives and notes the Chief Executive Officer's report for October 25 and notes that the report on exploring how appropriate council-owned facilities or other community venues would be accessible to community members for the purpose of respite on extreme weather days will now be presented at the November council meeting rather than October.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I'm looking for a mover to accept that report. Move Councillor Hockey. Got a seconder? Seconded Councillor Tony Clark. All right, councillors, any questions? Okay, all right, any discussion? Councillor Hockey?
No, thanks.
Councillor Clark? Any other councillor? All right, I'm going to put it. Those in favour? Those against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. We now move to items of urgent business. There are none of those. Is that correct? Correct. Right. So we now move to item 10, which is the closure of meeting to members of the public. Pursuant to section 66(1) of the Local Government Act 2020, the Act Council or Delegated Committee must keep a meeting open to the public unless the council or delegated committee considers it necessary to close the meeting to the public because of circumstances specified in the subsection 2 applies. The circumstances detailed in section 66(2) of the Act are: A, the meeting is to consider confidential information, or B, security reasons, or C, it is necessary to do so to enable the meeting to proceed in an orderly manner. So I'm asking for a resolution that in accordance with section 66(1) and 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act, the meeting be closed to members of the public for consideration of the following item. 1.1 CEO Employment and Remuneration Committee. Because it is personal information, being information which, if released, would result in an unreasonable disclosure of information about any person or their personal affairs. The ground applies because it relates to the employment and the contract of the Chief Executive Officer. Right, so councillors, I'm looking for a, that's Councillor Hockey, seconder to closure of the meeting. Councillor Dryley, all those in favour? Those against, declare that carried. So thank you. That's the closure of the meeting. Thank you for attendance to all the people who came.
Thank you, Mayor Henderson. I'll stop the live stream and inform you when it's complete.
Pardon?
Chris is just gonna close the meeting.